Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome in to another episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. It is I, Colton Robertson, and today we begin our top 50 of the Star Wars characters. I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
What up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. Obviously, we did a top 100, part 1 and 2, our previous episodes. We did 100 through 76, then 75 through 51. This is part 3, 50 through 26. Next week, 25, the top 25 through 1. So we're starting with 50 today. And I'm really looking forward to it. If you want to know who the first 50 were, Boogie, get the fuck out of here. Go listen to the other ones. Only top 50 here on in. And again, this is favorites, not who we think are the best characters in Star Wars necessarily. Although from here on in, you'll find nothing but bangers. Yeah, so top 50 favorites. What do you say?
I say we get right into it.
I say we get right into it as well.
I have a pair here, actually, that goes really well together, if I could, for my 50 and 49. They've both been mentioned before, so I feel like it's kind of okay, but it's Queel and IG-11.
Beautiful.
And just the dynamic that these two had, I felt like it was only kind of right to group them together, because like I like these characters because of their like connection, is kind of why I like them so much. I like Queel because of his past and how he worked with his hands and how he's so good with it. And the perfect example of that is IG-11, like the thing that was designed specifically to terminate, any target or whatever, and then it's completely rewired to take care of the thing that it was sent to terminate, whatever.
Perfect little parallel to Den there.
And both of them have the sacrifice play.
Beautiful.
Like in IG-11, the droid, whenever he blew himself up, I cried.
Yeah, me too.
Like, yes, I cried because a robot blew himself up. Like, oh my God.
And
like,
the way Den's reacting as he's leaving, where he's like, but no, you don't have to. You can stay. We can figure this out.
Den, a guy who despised droids, couldn't even stand them at all, was like, no, you can't do this. Like, no. And like,
he's also the only person to that point who he'd shown his face. The only thing he'd shown his face to. So he was like, no, don't do that. Like, you don't have to go.
But yeah, Queel and IG-11, like that duo right there.
That's a strong one. As far as like the Baze Chirrut duos go. Like,
oh yeah,
Queel, IG-11. Those are a couple strong pairs. I want to do a Star Wars pairs draft eventually, and just kind of pick our favorite duos across the Star Wars universe. Yeah, Luke and Leia, Han and
Obi-Wan,
Luke, Han and Leia, like
Anakin, Ahsoka.
There's overlap. You can have Obi and Anakin and Ahsoka.
Yoda, Count Dooku,
right? Dooku, Qui-Gon,
Palpatine, Anakin,
right? There's so many options there. I think it's a really fruitful idea.
Okay.
We'll have to execute one day, but that's a really good way to kick it off. And in fact, I kind of wish I would have started with my 50, let you do those, and then let me do my 49 and 48. But instead,
go ahead.
I'll just go ahead and read all three of them. So 50, I've got Cal Kestis. Love me some Cal Kestis. Great Jedi, and playing Jedi Fallen Order, you come to really enjoy the character. Really interested as to where he's at come our post episode 6 timeline. If he'll at all be at play, or if we're going to see him sadly demise pre original trilogy as we did with Kanan and Jarrus and stuff, just to kind of clear the table for Luke, like it's like these were the only Jedi left. Like, so I'm curious as to the route Cal Kestis' story goes. I love seeing him with BD-1.
I gotta think that a BD-1 droid showing up, like, is just their way of saying, like, it's a possibility, like,
unless that is BD-1. And then what?
Well, that probably does mean that he's no longer.
That's his homeboy for the ride.
No way they separate, right?
No, yeah, they're down to ride forever at that.
Oh wait, now I hope that's not BD-1.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Game
yeah,
changer.
Cal will come. Actually, in this episode.
Yes, beautiful. But with that,
barely.
I'll move on to my 49 and 48.
Biggest gap possible in this episode, actually.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
15 to 26. That's hilarious. But I'll go with my 49 and 48 though. I'm gonna stick with you in the Mandalorian vein. You went with Queel and IG-11 for 50 and 49. My 49 is Grief Karga, and my 48 is Moff Gideon. So, you brought up Grief Karga last episode. He's fucking fantastic. Carl Weathers fits like a fucking glove into this universe. His whole character, him having been thought to, have died and kind of been like off the table, but him being so prominent and so well liked that they were like, we have to keep him around. And the way he keeps reemerging, he's already confirmed to be directing another episode in season 3, which I'm so excited about because he hasn't missed as far as his director status has gone. He also directed the one where they blow up the Imperial base on Navarro. So Carl Weathers is a king in Star Wars, and Grief Karga reflects that completely. But and then 48 Moff Gideon.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Moff Gideon. I didn't even.
Not here.
There's one. You've Pelly and Shmi and Moff Gideon have been 3 so far that I cannot believe I didn't include them. Honorable mentions were Sid, Luminara, and Wicket the Ewok so far. But those 3, Pelly, Shmi, and Moff Gideon, damn, are 3 that I've been damn so far. So you need 4 more to hit the 7 number that I guessed in initially.
Oh yeah, at the beginning.
And I hope, it's scarier the higher we get, because if I miss a character that's this high, then that's way worse. So
it starts getting more intense. The higher we get. But yeah, Moff Gideon, Giancarlo Esposito, a really awesome character. Our introduction to the Darksaber in live action, as he rises from the wreckage of his TIE fighter in the Mandalorian season 1 finale. And it's so interesting thinking back to the Mandalorian season 1 and just thinking about where we're at now. And it's like, holy shit, that's the finale of that first season. Like, in terms of the story we've gotten with the Mandalorian, that's a little less than half.
Damn.
And I feel like we've gotten so fucking much with him since then, but not as much as you would think, that just
That's
happened
true.
in the realm of their show. But
wow. Huh. Man.
Yeah, Moff Gideon, super
48?
badass.
Yeah, that was 48.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be meeting his demise at the hands of the New Republic, if I had to guess.
No. Yeah, it never seems to work out that way.
No, it does not.
My 48 is the Rogue One character that I, for a second, thought was not the highest Rogue One character. Because I thought it was K2SO at one point. I'm like, no way K2SO is my highest Rogue One character, right?
Yeah.
I love K2SO, but he's not her. He's not
Jen.
Not Jen Erso. So the death that got me the most at the end is hers.
her and Cassian, just Oh my God, that's just devastating.
They had the most beautiful death too. Like everyone else's was like in battle in some way, you know, but this one was like truly just like embrace.
Do you think they hear? Do you think it's gonna matter? Like, do you think anyone heard us? It's like, yeah, I think they did.
Oh, it mattered.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah.
it mattered.
It mattered.
Like
her taking the initiative and just.
I'm curious. Like, if you just watch this movie by itself first, no previous Star Wars knowledge at all, I think it can stand alone.
It does. It was the first Star Wars movie I showed Emily.
Like, you literally don't have to know a thing about Star Wars for this to be a good movie. The more you know, the more like it gets even better. And like that's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
Like it is just such a beautiful movie, and it's crazy that it's ending here. It's just that like the Rogue One characters on their own don't stand up to like the characters in the original trilogy and sequel, you know, like the movie itself I hold higher than most other movies. It's probably my second favorite movie. If I like legit, it probably goes Return of the Jedi, Rogue One, and then Revenge of the Sith. It's probably how it goes for me. And but it's not really a movie where one character stands out. It's the whole. It's the whole thing together.
The sum of its parts.
So yeah.
No, yeah, I'm 100% with you there, and I'm very excited to get to some of my Rogue One picks later on in this episode. Is where I think all of the rest of my Rogue One bits will be coming out. But yeah, that's a good one for 47 Jin or so, right?
That was my 48.
Oh, 48 Jin or so. My bad. My 47 is Kuru, who is the woman that the Ronin is fighting in Visions. If you read Ronin, the Star Wars Visions novel, that where she gets stabbed through the back is not the end of her. She is a much larger part of that book, goes on to be a very, very interesting character. Her whole lineage as far as the mythology they built out in the Ronin side of the universe is really interesting because it cannot coexist with the canon as we know it. It has to be taking place either 100 years earlier or 100 years, like hundreds of years earlier or hundreds of years after, for it to really, really connect. But she is just a really, really awesome character. She's resurrected by a Sith witch who brings her back to life, and a bunch of other Sith warriors, and they hear her whispers in their head, and they speak to them, and it's really interesting. But she ultimately overcomes it in a really cool way, and she ends up being something of a good guy, where you wouldn't anticipate that just from the short.
Yeah, she seemed pretty evil.
Yeah, and she's not
but not
the best.
I guess not necessarily, but not like full. Well, yeah,
yeah, Sith bandit thing. She seems like she's just purely bad intentioned, and she probably was at that point. But she grows beyond it in the novel, which is really cool to see, and that's why she rose so high, top 50 on my list. She's a really cool character, because you catch me before I read it. She's not on this list. There's zero chance. But post reading that book, Kuru is definitely a top 50 for me.
Yeah, I gotta get into the Star Wars literature.
Oh my God, it's fantastic.
Really
I've done it sparingly throughout the past couple years. Like I read Ahsoka and I read the Heir to the Empire trilogy a couple years back, but then I took a fat break. And then I hit it again this year with the Visions novel, and now I've read Master and Apprentice, and now I'm reading Queen's Shadow. Like I really fuck with the Star Wars books, dude. I can't recommend them enough. But yeah, 47, I got Kuru.
All right, my 47 is Kit Fisto.
Yeah, prequel Jedi.
Oh yeah, and man, did they in the prequels? He looks like a Star Wars character. He looks okay. Very alien-like though. But man, in Clone Wars, did they make him look like hot for no reason? You know,
That man is
like
sexy.
that's like I don't know. I think it's hilarious. Like his glow up that he had from prequel trilogy to Clone Wars, like that man glowed up.
My favorite Kit Fisto appearance is actually in the 2D micro series Clone Wars.
Oh God, let's see what that looks
where
like.
Where he dives into the water and he's swimming underneath with his lightsaber. It's so fucking cool. But yeah, Kit Fisto, another prequel Jedi that didn't quite make my list. Definitely thought about him, but I thought the prequel Jedi that I did give the love to, you know, I kind of hold all of them in similar esteem. You know, it's just kind of whoever I like more is who I like more. But yeah, that's the shot right there.
Yeah, he does look
so
pretty cool in that series. But yeah, he's I don't know, another prequel Jedi. Just kind of cool. Yeah, 47 Kit Fisto. I guess not much to say about him other than
kind of as it is with most of the prequel Jedi. It's kind of like, you know, not a lot to say. Just really loved them. You know, that's just kind of how it goes. That's how I feel about Isla Secura, Shakti, all of these prequel Jedi. I feel the same about, you know, and I hold them all in high esteem. It's just some of them made the list, some of them didn't. But yeah, good choice. My 46. I've got Ezra Bridger. Yeah, you know, this is we'll get the last couple Rebels characters here in this episode as well. But Ezra Bridger comes at my 46. I think he's a really cool character. I think he can only go up. But you know, in Rebels, first time I watched it, I wasn't fucking with Ezra on a super high level. You know, it took a rewatch before I was like, okay, yeah, Ezra's dope. I fuck with Ezra. It was just it took a little bit for me. And it really is like a greater understanding of the show. Like watching the show once, a rewatch of Rebels, I cannot recommend enough because it enhances the show so much. So much. Just knowing where they end up, how their characters develop. Wait, we will not conclude all of the Rebels characters this episode. But 2 of them will come this episode.
Yeah, I have 2 this episode.
Yeah, 2 this episode, 1 next episode.
Yeah, I like Rebels. I really like Ezra will not be in this episode for me.
Gotcha.
Really like me some Ezra. But,
yeah, and we'll save that for then. You know, I fuck with Ezra, and as I've said, top 50. I love these characters.
That's true.
Like we're at a point now where there's not a character on here I don't love. You know, like I love these characters at this point. You know, in some ways different than others. But yeah, 46, I got Ezra.
46 for me is Plo Koon. This is where my Plo Koon sits. He's just a little bit more than Kit Fisto. You know, there's more to his character. To like for me, like in the Clone Wars, I latched on to Plo Koon a little bit more. And I do think his character design is cooler overall than Kit Fisto too, even though how hot they made him in the Clone Wars for no reason. But I don't know. Plo Koon's just very
Jedi.
Yeah, he's just very Master Jedi.
And you know, that's the thing about these prequel Jedi. That's what makes them so cool, is that they are just like what we think of when we think Jedi. You know, like that's the pinnacle of Jedi right there, is Plo Koon and Kit Fisto and Luminara and Dully and Isla Secura and Shakti. All these characters, those are Jedi's Jedi. You know,
dang, just didn't even think, but like there's his mask that he wears. There's like I could 3D print that, and I could like wear that as my mask everywhere I go in public. Put like an actual like COVID mask below it, but then put that over it. Like that'd be awesome. Sick to walk around in. But I mean, be kind of wild. I would definitely get some stares, and no one would know. Looks. No one would know what the heck that is.
But hey, if someone does, you know, you fuck with them.
That's true. You know, that we could find our people quickly.
We can find our people.
Yeah, Plo Koon at 46 for me.
All right. You know, and I think my 45 might be a little bit of a shocker. I don't know where he might fall on yours, but this is where I've got Palpatine.
Okay. Yeah, definitely not this episode.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I thought he might be coming a little earlier than your Palpatine would be. It's just he's one of the characters that he's so important to the franchise. Obviously, he's another one that I view in a similar vein that I do C-3PO, where it's like this is a franchise defining character. Like you are the pinnacle of what Star Wars is. But I just don't fuck with you on that level. I do other Star Wars characters, and still hateable. Top 50.
He's pretty hateable,
Oh, super hateable, and there's a lot of hateable characters that didn't make my list. But this is a hateable character who had to be on the list. Just had to be, and just for do it. And
do it. Yeah.
Just a king. The actor who plays Palpatine.
And
nailed Palpatine,
I could not imagine seeing the original trilogy first and then seeing Senator Palpatine and then not knowing right away that that's the Emperor,
No, yeah. That was a reveal in Revenge of the... to some. Like there were some people who if you read ancillary material...
You could put it together pretty... I'd say people got the idea, obviously, because there's some scenes where he's it's obviously him. You can kind of tell, even though they hide his face still, but he does talk in a different voice. But
this, if you are just a fan of the movies and you're not reading other books, they never say Palpatine in the movies. They never say Palpatine. They just say the Emperor. So if you were just watching the movies, you wait 20 years and then you watch the prequel trilogy. You see Senator Palpatine in episode 1. He's a relatively good dude, seeming not really assuming much about him. Episode 2, he's starting to wither a little bit. He looks a lot older. You're like, oh God, this man's not looking good. Episode 3, he puts that hood up. And you're like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
That is the Emperor right there. And there's probably some susness throughout Revenge of the Sith where he's like, have you heard the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Yeah, why you?
The Jedi would not teach you such things.
Yo, what's up with that? How you know that?
Know that?
Yeah, that'd be amazing to not know. Man, to just watch things for the first time again would just be such an amazing power to have. But yeah, Palpatine. I guess I'll save because he's definitely in the last episode.
No, and
that's for sure.
One thing that I don't like that I assume you won't give a lot of love to just from previous episodes of the podcast or the last episode of the podcast where you listed Rey. I actually, while it does feel forced, I don't mind his reintroduction into the saga in episode 9. In fact, in theaters, the first time I'm watching episode 9, whenever Kylo descends below the surface of Exegol and you hear it.
Mm-hmm.
You hear him speak and you're just like, holy shit, it's for real. That's him.
I had that same exact moment. The trailer, whenever we heard his laugh in the trailer. I remember that. And I remember I had the initial feeling I had was
elation.
That's my boy. He's coming back. Oh my, let's fucking go. But then I thought about it. I'm like, wait a minute. He's coming back? I was and then I thought of all the implication. I'm like, wait. So Luke didn't everything, and I was, and everything that falls into play. And it's just I don't know. It's just, I am okay with it that it happened. It happened. I can't change it,
Yeah.
I can't change it. I just, I don't think it's where they were going. I don't think it was in the cards from the beginning. I think it was made after The Last Jedi.
Yeah, it definitely
was. That's just where it's I can't get behind that. It just was not the right call in my opinion. But
all right.
But yeah, I guess my 45 is Bail Organa.
Yes, will be popping up in a few spots for me.
And yeah, I mean, what a guy. It's just I was trying to think of where I was going to place Bail Organa, and I'm looking at all these other people that are above him, and I'm man, like this is just like there's nothing to hate about Bail Organa.
No,
He's just like
there's not.
he's just a feel good guy. And like I don't know, let me just see. Like I got to get his look. Like
Beautiful man.
yeah,
Jimmy
like,
Smits is Bail Organa. What a king.
oh his
That's my dad.
He had a cape. Yeah, his cape. He had a cape sometimes. He was cool with it. But like, I don't know. He's just a very, just like another just smart man, kind of guy that was like aware of things too. I don't know. He's just a good guy that I don't know. It's just I didn't really like. He's just in a weird kind of spot, like up in here.
Yeah.
Like the people that he's around. But I don't know. I just like had to put him in here somewhere, and he was just kind of like a middle of the road character, and that's kind of why he falls like up near like kind of the 50 area. But yeah, just Bail Organa.
All right, yeah, that's a good choice because he will be popping up again. But with that, my 44, I've got Jango Fett, as he popped up earlier on your list. The detail, like, and the thing I wanted to touch on that I made sure we didn't touch on earlier when he came up, so that we had something else to talk about him with later on was the revelation in the Mandalorian season 2, episode 6, that Jango Fett was a Mandalorian foundling, the same as Din, which makes him every bit as much a Mandalorian as we view Din Djarin, which makes Boba Fett, by extension, every bit a Mandalorian as we view Din Djarin. As Din Djarin officially is like, well, yeah, okay, this armor belongs to you, as I would want the armor I passed down to my son, Grogu. You are a Mandalorian the way Grogu's a Mandalorian. Which is like, that's awesome. The fact that Boba Fett is a Mandalorian the way Grogu is, and Jango is the way Din is.
That's just weird to like hear. Grogu is a Mandalorian, Yeah. He's not a Jedi. I mean, he kind of is, but not really. Like, he's a little bit Jedi, but he's really like a Mandalorian.
That man's a Mandalorian foundling, same as Din.
How that Mandalorian helmets work with him? Are his ears gonna?
I think his ears will pop out. I don't know that he'll have a visor. I think it'll just kind of like be open around his face.
Oh my goodness! Oh, what? How early do they get a helmet? Like,
I don't know. It'll probably be a little bit. It'll probably
like
be
no way they cover up his face.
No. See, that's the thing. It's like I don't think he gets.
I
a
guess
helmet
they just go away with that. Yeah,
like, until he's full grown Grogu.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, Jango Fett. That's my 44.
Jango. Jango. Sorry, Jango. We got
easy. I mean, easy to move off the topic with Jango Fett, just because his very character branches off into so many directions.
The man is responsible for quite a lot.
And Jango Fett's the reason Tamara Morrison is in the Star Wars universe. Without the Jango Fett introduction, we don't get Tamara Morrison as Jango. We don't get him as Boba, and frankly, Tamara Morrison's officially one of my favorite actors of all time now because of these roles, and he's awesome. So, Jango Fett.
Oh yeah, 44. This tops out the sequels for me. This is where Kylo Ren falls. If a storyline was done well, it was the dyad between Kylo and Rey, and Kylo. I mean, just his whole connection with Vader. Han, he's Han and Leia's kid, trained by Luke.
Magnificent.
Like, if there was a storyline that I could say was executed well in the sequels, it was Kylo Ren's story. Like in his redemption, him becoming Ben Solo again, the moment, like the freaking grab behind the head,
the shrug paralleling Han.
Oh my God. Like, the sacrifice play. Like, I guess the love between Rey and Kylo was a little forced, I guess. It didn't like, it wasn't like, oh, they're meant for each other, or anything. But like, it was a good
The Last Jedi
moment.
had those notes. It was like okay, there could be something here for sure.
There was definitely enough to where like him sacrificing himself to save Rey was like, oh, like that was definitely the right thing. That like the ending of Rise of Skywalker, like whatever you can like say about those movies, whatever. Like the ending was, in my opinion, beautiful. Like the
Oh, it's
destruction
fantastic.
of like the Last Order or the Final Order, or whatever they called it. Although really stupid failsafe on the Empire. I guess stupid failsafes all around, but obviously you can't just beat that army straight up. So I guess they kind of did though. They kind of did just beat the army straight up.
There are
with,
more
like,
of us,
numbers.
Poe.
Yeah. So
there
never
are
mind.
more of us.
So never mind. That ending was just like, I'm all the Sith.
Momentous.
I'm all the Jedi. You hear all the Jedi's voices. Like, oh, come on. That ending was, yeah, that ending was beautiful. But yeah, Kylo,
right.
throwing his lightsaber off. Grievous, fine addition to my collection. But yeah.
But yeah, good choice. And in that all the Jedi moment, we hear the voice of my 43, Kanan Jarrus. At one point, you hear Freddie Prinze Jr. in Rey's head, which I think is just
That's
really awesome homage to Rebels. Like the fact that like even in Episode 9 in Disney's The Rise of Skywalker, where they've done a fucking great job of ignoring the prequels, and ignoring certain content from Star Wars, to get such an acknowledgement of one of their animated series was really cool. We hear Ahsoka, we hear Kanan, and Kanan deserves that sort of love. He's one of the best Jedi I think there is in the universe in terms of just the Jedi way. I think he's a really, really definitive Jedi, and upon completion of Rebels, once you rewatch it, holy fucking shit, knowing where Kanan goes and where he ends up and his whole arc, it's all the better. Dude, I loved me some Kanan Jarrus, and getting young Caleb Doom and the Bad Batch, seeing how his origin was tied to like Hunter and the Bad Batch is really, really cool. I'll throw in an honorable mention here, and Depa Billapa, his master, had a really cool just a really cool character design, and she popped up in the Master and Apprentice novel, and I got to appreciate her character a little bit more upon reading that, and just another cool character, but not enough of her to really warrant a spot on this, so I figured I'd throw her in there with Kanan.
I got Kanan a little further up. Won't be in this episode.
Cool.
But I love Rebels, and those two, Ezra and Kanan. I just connected with them. Whenever I watch Rebels, it was just like the most connected I felt with Star Wars. Like I don't know, it's just such a beautiful show. So I'll save the Kanan and Ezra talk.
All right, yeah,
A little bit longer, but I guess that moves on to my 43, which is Fennec Shand, Master Assassin. She's badass, man. And I just can't wait to see what more she does. And like, I'm curious on like what her arc like is gonna be, like, or like if she.
What's her underlying story here?
Yeah, I don't think she just remains
sort of this badass enforcer who's just kind of in things.
Because her and Boba, they go back and forth a lot, and they're learning from each other a lot right now. And I'm curious, just like what's in store for Fennec, or if it's just truly like she's just gonna be by Boba's side. Like maybe that's like they're truly just like ride or die now. I don't know.
Yeah,
like
maybe.
Which is that's
good
enough
for me. That was enough for me to put her much higher on my list. We'll talk about her next episode. For me, but she's really cool. I think maybe a really cool opportunity to expand her story and live action, maybe Andor, perhaps. Set post Bad Batch, and I think it stands to reason that the rebel spies would come into contact with some bounty hunters every now and then. Maybe Kenobi. I know there's rumors that will take us to Nar Shaddaa, which is the smuggler's moon, where a bunch of underworld crime shit is ran. So maybe we get some more Fennec Shand there. You just never know. We could and shit, Bad Batch season 2, more Bad Batch. We might see more Fennec Shand.
Yeah,
she's awesome.
Oh yeah. Any more Finnick, I'm down to take.
Yeah, Ming Na Wen rocks. But yeah, all right.
Mm-hmm.
With that, we'll go on to my 42.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really funny that we've expelled all the sequel trilogy characters for you. And here at 42, above all your sequel characters, I have Rose Tico. Yes. Very, very, I just thought that was funny. That you because your Kylo is 44, right? Like that was that for the sequel trilogy. That's hilarious. That like I don't even begin the main cast of sequel trilogy until after you've concluded all of it. But yeah, Rose Tico. I thought she criminally overhated. I really love The Last Jedi, and it's my favorite sequel trilogy film. And her part in it is one that a lot of people, a lot of haters like to dismiss, and I can't blame anyone for the gripes they might have with the sequel trilogy. I was once there, I was once very much so there, but they've since grown on me quite a bit, and Rose Tico among them, growing on me more than most characters in anything have. Just her whole, that's how we'll win. Not killing what we hate, saving what we love. That's a franchise defining sentiment for me. And the fact that it comes from Rose Tico is very powerful for me, and it elevates her, and her idolization of the rebellion and the resistance, and like, holy shit, you're Finn, like you're a legend, like I aspire to be like you. And I think it would have been cool to have her along for the ride in The Rise of Skywalker. Wish she was a little bit bigger of a part of it, but you get what you get, and I hope we see her in the future of some sequel trilogy products.
Yeah, she was just like a feel good character, like just a good part of the sequels. Yeah, like how can you hate? Like, I don't know, just she was just like nothing to hate about Rose.
No,
really.
Not at all.
So yeah, that's
the way she explains the Fathiers, like or Fathiers or whatever, like
and she's riding on whatever that casino planet was, and like Finn is like,
Canto Bite.
Stop enjoying this right now, and she's just
she's
like having it. Wow.
Yeah, that's where I've got Rose Tico.
Well, big switch up here. He's already been mentioned, but this is where General Grievous lands for me.
Yes, very opposite characters, Grievous and Rose Tico.
Yeah. But the whole in Clone Wars, you get a little deeper dive with Grievous, like in his lair, or his dungeon, whatever they ended up calling it. Learn about his history. Like, I don't know, it just boggles me. Like it always blows my mind that like this dude was a human or like, he wasn't droid to begin with.
No, yeah, like he was some sort of living being with a body organically.
And I don't know, it's just a super cool concept of a character collecting, he uses Jedi's lightsabers.
More for my collection.
And like, how can you stop 4 blades spinning at like 500 RPM coming at you? Like, what are you going to do? Like, you Obi-Wan Kenobi it. I guess you use a gun. You just get the job done.
So uncivilized.
Yeah, you just got to get the job done with that guy. Just, he got away too many times. The dude was always in an escape pod somewhere.
General Kenobi has engaged Grievous on the planet Utapau.
Well, wow. Yeah. General Grievous, man.
What a king. What a king.
Yeah.
Perfect. No, perfectly opposite there with Grievous and Rose Tico at 42. I think that's hilarious. But my 41, another one that's already been mentioned, I got Jar Jar Binks. Love me the Phantom Menace. And Jar Jar Binks is like a childhood defining character for me, or one of the most nostalgic pieces of Star Wars there is with Jar Jar Binks. And since he's already been mentioned, don't feel too much need to keep going with him. But Jar Jar. It's my 41.
Darth Jar Jar. Not too far of a gap. Only 10 in difference, but yeah, he's got I'm glad that he was shown some love. He's a
king.
Oh yeah, 41. That's nothing to scoff at.
No, top 50. None of these are to scoff at for me because I love all these guys.
Oh yeah, this my next guy starts a a good trend here. In 41, it starts with Crosshair. You can probably see where it's going.
Probably.
Out of the batch, my least favorite happens to be Crosshair, I think, for kind of obvious reasons.
That's fair.
But his character is still super cool, and like it doesn't make me hate him. I mean, like, yeah, I hate him for what he's done and all, but like, could be redeemed here. I don't know, like with where we're leaving off.
But where we're leaving off, is it also he's chosen this life?
Yeah, I don't.
What are we doing?
We kind of up in the air with Crosshair right now, which is interesting. But I mean, the other guys, they're all cool. But yeah, I don't know. I think Crosshairs to start out the Bad Batch crew is fitting, at least to be the bottom of the Bad Batch barrel.
That makes sense. That makes sense. He'll be coming up later in this episode for me. Yeah. With that, I'll take it to my 40, which is actually officially our biggest difference. It will not get bigger than this. You had Cassian Andor at 93, and I have him at 40. And that is a 53 place difference. I've got a 52 and a 50. We'll get there.
Sorry, Cassian.
But
you
yeah,
were
Cassian
just
Andor.
After 86 or so was just kind of, I needed some people to fill in, and I'm sorry that I forgot about you before. You definitely don't deserve 93, but the movie, it wouldn't be the movie without you.
No, certainly not. So. And, I'm very, very excited for his spinoff series and everything that the future of Andor holds. And, his role as the rebel spy, I remember being in the theater for Rogue One, and like that part where they're about to get crashed down on by stormtroopers at the beginning. And he's like, oh, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. Just calm down, breathe, and kills him. Like, oh, so the rebellion's doing what they've got to do, huh? And it doesn't really matter who. And I thought that was an interesting sentiment for the rebel spy. And Cassian Andor, his perspective, evolves over the course of the film, and he's like, do I have to kill Galen? Like, is that something I have to do?
Man, I gotta give Rogue One a rewatch.
Yeah, me too, man. I always, every time I talk about it, I'm like, God, I love that movie.
Every time I watch it, it's like, man, I swear, how do I forget how good this movie is every time? Like, I don't know. It's just like, in the moment, the movie's so good. Like, every time. Even though we hold it to this so high esteem, it's always so good to come back to, and you forget how good the movie is.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. And with that, what's your 40?
My 40 happens to be Echo. I'm continuing.
Echo?
Echo? Yeah. Got to, just another crew of the Bad Batch. I was, here is a lot of, well, I guess I won't spoil too much, but I got, most of the Bad Batch people are right in here, other than for two of them. I think pretty obvious who the two are.
Yeah, they will be next week for me as well.
But yeah, I mean, just everyone in the Bad Batch crew, like, it's just another one of those found families that you just connect with so much. Like, it's just such a good show. And Echo, I mean, man, you feel for that guy.
Oh yeah, you do. God
damn, how devastating. Poor Echo. He just always seems to like just be scraping at the bottom of the barrel. Like, I don't know. Like, I always feel bad for Echo. But
poor guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he deserves some respect, and he'll get some here in a couple spots for me as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I've got four of the Bad Batch in this episode, 2 in the next. But yeah, they'll be coming up here in a couple spots periodically. But yeah, good one there with Echo at 40. So then at my 39, picking up from 40 there, I've got one you've already mentioned, Bail Organa. I love me some Bail. Love me some Jimmy Smits. This man is that man. He is Dad. This is a beautiful man who I've wanted to follow to the ends of the earth ever since I was a small child. the choice to adopt Leia, really, really key to Leia becoming a larger piece of the galaxy, which is really awesome. And his relationship with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ahsoka and Padme, like he's just got a lot of really cool reach that you haven't seen in movies. It's mostly been expressed through books and stuff. And to see his sort of kinship with Padme through the books I'm reading about her right now is really cool. And if you read the Ahsoka novel, you know that Bail Organa was kind of instrumental in her being a asset to the rebellion without being in the rebellion, which is also really cool. And just fuck with Bail Organa on a deep level.
To be in Obi-Wan, right?
Yes.
Like
yes.
which is
in
sick.
Kenobi.
Which is really cool. I guess actually oh wait, no. Never mind. I was thinking that we were time traveling again. I was in the 52 year of movie mind frame where I was about to be like, oh yeah, I loved his performance in
no.
It was amazing.
Not quite yet.
Yes.
Not quite yet. No, this is
time
still doing a little time traveling because this won't come out till like the end of March, but still nonetheless, haven't seen Kenobi yet. Look forward to that. But Bail Organa was my 39, and I'm very, very confident with that. I'll just love that guy.
Moving on, I'm continuing my Bad Batch train here. I have Tech for my 39. And so out of the Bad Batch, my rankings so far have been Crosshair at the bottom, then Echo, then Tech. And I would Tech and Echo are kind of the two that I always feel bad for like whatever reason. Like Echo, just damn, that dude just been through it. Like I just feel I always feel shitty for him. He always just seems to get the short straw. But Tech, I don't know. Tech is kind of like this in between where like I love his character. I love like the Brainiac, character. He always like finds, a solution to something and which is always cool. And his helmet is freaking sick.
Fucking awesome.
Has the coolest helmet.
I think I took him for our character design draft whenever we did that.
So yeah, I mean, there's not much on Tech. They don't really show. He's not a hunter. And
I'm hoping with the expansion of the Bad Batch through later seasons, maybe there's just different arcs where different members of the Bad Batch are the focal point. Like Hunter and Wrecker really got a lot of love this season. Hunter, Wrecker, and Crosshair, and Echo and Tech were kind of left in the breeze. Tech has his moments where he gets to explain things, but other than that, he's not he hasn't been an instrumental story element for the Bad Batch, and I think he's another one of those that deserves better. Him and Echo both, and I look forward to presenting them on my list later this episode. But yeah, all right, Tech at 39.
Yep.
All right, 38. We've got that gold boy. C-3PO.
Partly silver
in the legs, maybe a little red in the arm. I don't know. He's got a lot going on, a lot of parts replaced and such. But one of my favorite. It's funny because my favorite 3PO appearances, I think, don't come in the original trilogy. It's the bookmarks. It's the bookends. Phantom Menace and The Rise of Skywalker are peak 3PO for my money.
That's true. Rise of Skywalker is probably 3PO's like...
That's his strongest film, I think.
Oh, yeah. He was kind of like...
Certainly has an instrumental role to play, and that's just something you hadn't gotten from him a lot. I mean, how can you forget in The Empire Strikes Back whenever he's all in pieces and Chewbacca's carrying him on his back, and he's like, oh, I can't see anything.
Gets his head put on the wrong way, his
appearance in Attack of the Clones. Die, Jedi dogs!
Yeah, he's always
oh my, what was that?
Oh my. Yeah, imagine having to walk around like in that suit, like in the like there was a dude in there.
Anthony Daniels, man. That's a talented man.
And I don't know. He's always
strong ownership over that character too. He's really, really passionate about what he does as 3PO, and He's really passionate about the dialogue. He will, if there's something in a script where he's like, 3PO wouldn't say that. Like, he will voice his concerns.
That's awesome.
And he will tell you, 3PO wouldn't say that, so I'm going to say something else.
Never tell me the odds. You have he's always, he learns, to be a little quieter over the years. But I love, like, at the Royals game, like during quarantine, whenever they had cardboard cutouts, like in the stands and stuff, there were some Star Wars characters. I think like R2, 3PO,
Chewbacca, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Chewbacca, and they're right behind home plate, so you see them the whole game. And R2 and Chewbacca are sitting right next to each other. They're chilling, and then 3PO's like 4 seats away. Like, there's a gap, of like 3 seats in between them, which is just hilarious. Like, someone at the Royal Stadium was like, this just is kind of fun, funny for no reason. Like, he's annoying. Let's just sit him over here. I don't know. It's just like this one moment that that Star Wars can just, like, in no words spoken, just seeing 3 cardboard cutouts on a screen, you can get like a character trait from that, which is crazy.
It's outstanding. It's outstanding.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what 3PO at 38. I love the character, love the actor. And it's just so definitively Star Wars. Top 50.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm loving all these characters at this point, and 38 is nothing to scoff at. So 3PO.
My 38 here, sticking with the Bad Batch, and this is Wrecker. Wrecker goes.
Rika!
He's just the big teddy bear. He's the muscle.
Love me some Rika.
He's Omega's protector too a lot of the time. He would do anything for her, like Hunter will. And,
really
I mean, like, all of them will, like, protect her to the end. But, like, Wrecker has this, like, extreme motivation, it seems, sometimes, which is just so adorable.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping we build on with some other characters too, is every like Echo and Tech's inclination to want to protect Omega as well, because that's what made us like Wrecker and Hunter, is the fact that they were so close to Omega, and meanwhile Tech and Echo kind of seem distant from her for some reason. But I bet that gap closes a little bit comparatively to them. But
like, Wrecker even made Omega like her room, in the ship, and like presented it to her.
Gave her his fucking I can't remember what it was called, but
like stuffed animal thing.
Yeah, stuffed animal thing.
Oh man, so many cute moments with Wrecker.
Oh, so many, and that's why he is my 37.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and this is my first Bad Batch member.
Oh wow.
Yes. Wrecker falls to the bottom of my Bad Batch list, but he's still above 3PO and Bail Organa. So like, there's like I definitely still have a great deal of love in my heart for Wrecker. It's just that there was something by the end of the season of the Bad Batch. Like, I can fuck with Wrecker for a while, but I felt like we were getting an oversaturation of Wrecker. I feel like there are more interesting elements to all the other characters, and we got a lot more of Wrecker than we did anybody else. And by the end of the season, that it didn't put a sour taste in my mouth for Wrecker. Obviously, I still love the character, but I was like, I really need some more Echo and Tech. And I mean, Crosshair was a huge part of the season, but I still feel like I watched Wrecker a lot more than I watched Crosshair. You know what I'm saying?
True. Yeah. Never thought about it like that. Yeah, look. There was a lot of Wrecker, and maybe it's just because he's like the funniest out of all of them.
He is supposed to be. He is the one that I think kids would probably appreciate the most, and like he certainly serves that purpose in the show, I'd think. And but because we finish off the his whole arc with the inhibitor chip kind of affecting him before halfway through the season, if I remember correctly. Or like right around the halfway point, like first 10 episodes or so at least, but I can't remember exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I just felt like we stuck with Wrecker a lot when there's a lot of interesting stuff around all the characters.
Well, hopefully in season 2 they recognize Echo and Tech, and give us some more Crosshair. Hopefully, like, clear
Crosshair's
all that up
vision
and
needs to
everything.
be a
Yeah,
little
like
bit more clarified. We'll get on that later, but 37 Wrecker. That's where I had him. And I know I mostly said what I don't like about him in comparison to all the other Bad Batch members, but Joseph did a really good job of covering what I do like about him. All the loving qualities of Wrecker are really awesome, and he's a cute guy.
I think kind of in the same vein as how Wrecker's kind of high up on my Bad Batch list. You had this character like low on your Rebels list. And this was Zeb Aurelios for me is my 37. Ooh. And I don't know, I didn't like him at first. I don't think anyone kind of likes him at first. He's just kind of like a bully. But he turns into this, big teddy bear that him and like Ezra's relationship eventually, turns into something like really beautiful. And his whole species storyline, when he goes back to, his home planet and all that, like how beautiful that is. And like just such a cool concept. And I hope like we get something along the lines of that in the future, like to actually
use a little bit more Lasat in our lives, and I think it's also really cool that their connection to the Force is expressed in Rebels, and then we see in Jedi Fallen Order that Cal Kestis's master was a Lasat, and so like there's a Jedi within the Lasat species and stuff. So yeah, that might be our biggest difference as far as your list is concerned, with you having someone much higher than me. I think that was a straight up 40 spot difference.
What was the Empire kind of like captain guy that turned Fulcrum?
Callus.
That's right. That's his name. I love the Callus and Zeb, storyline where Callus has like one of the, like their like weapons that only they're supposed to use, and if anyone else is, using it, it's like bad, whatever. But then you learn that like he demolished like these people, and like it was kind of like like Zeb almost like respected him, like not respected him, but it was kind of like
like I know you can do some damage here.
Yeah, and love their fights. All the like the conflict.
No, it's interesting. I never thought about it, but Callus is to the Lasats what Gideon is to the Mandalorians. As an ISB agent, because that's what Gideon was at the time of the Mandalore destruction. So it reframes Callus a little bit when you think about him in comparison to Moff Gideon and kind of having done similar things, but ultimately evolving to the rebellion and stuff is really interesting. And it is cool that Zeb was able to forgive him of that and stuff. But I really like where they end that season together, Zeb and Callus, or end the series together, because it seems like Callus is going to live with him in Lasat land, wherever that is. I can't remember what the planet was.
Hopefully we'll get more of that.
Lasan, I think it might have just been that. But yeah, I hope we get some more Zeb and Callus in the Ahsoka series. Post Return of the Jedi. Maybe they were at the Battle of Endor. I don't know.
That could be cool. I guess there was a lot of people there.
Yeah, we didn't have to see everybody doing all these things. They could have just been some foot soldiers doing some shit. Callus could have been a part of the team that Han stormed the place and put the detonite charges in. Like we can just retcon that someone was there we didn't see.
I mean, the thing,
nice and easy.
The thing blew up, so it's like this is nothing remaining there. It's like whoever died, and like anyone could have been there. It was like it was a galaxy-wide war, pretty much. This was like the event. Like that's like the BC and like AD of Star Wars. It's like post or pre Battle of Endor. Like did the Death Star blow up or not? Is like the like defining moment like in Star Wars, which is just kind of cool.
It's really awesome. But that was Zeb at your 37 then, right? It was a 40 spot difference for us.
Wow.
I had him at 77. You had him at 37.
I like me some Zeb. What he turns into.
What he becomes.
So his arc. Yeah.
Certainly fair. And I think a Rebels rewatch would see all my Rebels characters rise up this list immensely. I just haven't watched it in a couple of years, and that's kind of where we're sitting.
I love me some Rebels.
It's such a good fucking show, dude.
I watched the Clone Wars first and then Rebels.
Same.
And I don't know. I like latched onto Rebels a lot more than
than Clone
Wars,
100%. Like I felt like and no hate to the Clone Wars or anything. It was
Still
really,
amazing. Yeah,
still amazing and still really entertaining. But there were arcs in that show where I'm like, I'm watching it because I feel like I have to get through this arc to get to what's next. Like there. And
I guess
didn't
season
really feel
7 of Clone Wars probably. I mean, it edges out Rebels.
Season
just
7's really strong. It's just different,
Yeah, but as a whole show, like it's the found family. It's the whole. It's like one continuous story, pretty much. They don't really bounce around, and I think we'll talk about it a lot more.
Yes, we will see. We will see a couple more Rebels characters for you. I think I've concluded mine. Sadly, I think I might have wanted Kanan Jarrus a little bit further up this list, but nevertheless, on to my 36. Save the rebellion, save the dream. I've got Saw Gerrera.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's a fucking king to me. Just because I think the extremist things that we see him do are really, really really compelling stories. And come Rogue One, I just gave it a rewatch just a couple days ago, which might be a little bit of a switch up from what you heard at 40, just a couple spots back. But now I have watched Rogue One again, and I'm even more assured that I have Saw Gerrera above Cassian Andor and stuff. Just a really fascinating character. I hope we get some more expansion on his time within the rebellion, maybe through the Andor series. I think that would be really cool. Amazing to me that he was the first Clone Wars character adapted to live action through Rogue One, which is really cool. And his role in the Clone Wars is really cool, and his origin story is devastating, and it makes sense that he would ultimately become an extremist. I think he always had that air about him, and his appearances in the Bad Batch and
every death in Rogue One is just like
it's brutal.
Like obviously, when I think of the deaths in Rogue One, I think of the very end of the movie. Like I don't really remember, like Saw going out
dying.
And him just watching the plant just come, like closer and closer to him, and it's just like, oh my.
And it is really interesting though, because like Jin and Cassian are right there, and they're like, "Come on, we can go ahead and dip," and he's like, "Nope, this is it for me. This is where I die. We've got a problem on the horizon. There's no horizon.
Damn.
Save the rebellion. Save the dream." I absolutely love that, and they ultimately do. And I think there's more Saw Gerrera content out there that we haven't seen yet. That I think we might be privy to via Andor, because I don't know if you've noticed, but the time between the Clone Wars and Rogue One, Saw Gerrera changes quite a bit. So it'll be interesting to see just what happened to him. What made him go mod with it. He doesn't have he's got mechanical legs, and he's got a breathing mechanism that he seems to not be able to live without.
He's been through it, you could say.
Yeah.
He's probably found himself in a lot of situations. Like, it's probably not one event that happened that made this, made this change. It's probably multiple, just things over time.
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
I never thought of a future with more Saw Gerrera, but give it to me. I
think we'll certainly get it, especially with the talent that is Forrest Whitaker. Him playing Saw Gerrera is one of my favorite castings in all of Star Wars as well. Just absolutely outstanding, and I'm a sucker for Forrest Whitaker anywhere I can get him. Black Panther being another one of my favorite performances of his, but Saw Gerrera definitely a great character in my 36.
My 36 you've mentioned before. This one could be maybe more sizable than Zeb, possibly. It's Hondo Ohnaka.
Not quite. I had Hondo Ohnaka above Zeb.
Okay. But I don't know. I love
28 spots.
Hondo's one of my Clone Wars guys. Every time he pops up, I'm like, yes, let's go.
That's a king right there.
Got some Hondo.
Hondo.
And he's kind of like a a Han in a way of where he's just always trying to scam and get the best deal for
Oh, he's a pirate, man.
Like,
that man's it's the pirate's life for him, you know? It's the pirate's life for him.
And like his first appearance is whenever I think like whenever Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Dooku all work together to like escape. I think that's like the first episode that he's in, which is like awesome. And he like takes them in as like their friend, like right away. He's like, yeah, I don't know about you guys, but you seem pretty cool. Let's hang out or like whatever.
Praying we see that man in Kenobi.
Oh, live action freaking Hondo. Yes. Like we need some
especially
Hondo.
with his kinship with Kenobi, you know, and I look forward to Ewan McGregor's interaction and mentioning of characters that he never actually got to act alongside or anything like that, because like mentions of Ahsoka or remembering Ahsoka, like Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan's never had anything with Ahsoka, never had anything with Hondo Ohnaka. Like these are Captain Rex or other clones like that. Like it could be really cool to see him interact with some of these characters, and Hondo Ohnaka would probably be the coolest one to see him interact with.
I mean, even in Rebels too, you know, I'm thinking of like there was a mission where I forget like what they were getting, but they were like sending like things from a ship to like a freighter, like across like a zip line sort of thing. And like Hondo's there and he's like, he has to get this one crate or whatever. Like, and it's, I don't know. He always like makes the situation a little harder. You know, and he's just, that's what he's there for. You know, he's comic relief. He's just there to spice things up.
Dude's so fucking funny.
Yeah. Love me some Hondo. So.
Oh, and I mean like the final battle in Rebels, whenever he pulls up for Ezra and is like, he has his Din Djarin Boba Fett moment where he's like, yo, straight up, I fuck with you, kid. I'd do anything for you. Like that's kind of cute as fuck. And I really hope we see some more, maybe some Hondo Ohnaka in our Ahsoka future. I don't know. Maybe something there. Oh
yeah.
You know, if Cad Bane's alive come the Book of Boba Fett, Hondo Ohnaka's still kicking. You know it for sure.
That guy finds a way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he finds a way.
He's like life, according to Jeff Goldblum.
Ugh.
But life, it finds a way. But all right. 36 Hondo Ohnaka. That's a good one. It was only a 28 spot difference there compared to a 40 for Zeb there. But my 35, I'm pretty confident this will be one that didn't appear on your list and won't. And we're kind of it's kind of late in the game for that, which is interesting. But I don't know that you'll regret it. Enfys Nest from Solo.
Damn.
Played by Aaron Kellyman. The leader of the Marauders who are robbing the Empire to give back to their communities and disperse resources around the galaxy. You know, this more so than any other character in Star Wars is one I need to appear again. Come back in some fashion somewhere. Andor would be dope. You know, that's when the Empire's around, and I mean, Bad Batch. I could see her popping up in the Bad Batch, like things like this. I think there's a lot of potential with Enfys Nest's character, and just being the young woman who is leading a group of various species who are giving back to various planets. Like that's just a really, really cool idea. It's kind of like what T'Challa Star-Lord's Ravagers were trying to do. And I think
she's even her role in the MCU is kind of even similar.
Pretty similar
like in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like and I don't know, she fits that role really well.
She's the young revolutionary,
very powerful female lead, and she like killed lead, but just very powerful female role. And she like, I don't know, like I remember, you know, they made us think that like her character was male, like at first,
like it had the deep voice and everything,
and then taking off the helmet, it's like, oh, like fuck. That's just.
Oh, and it wasn't it was a Spider-Man 2 moment too. It wasn't just like, oh shit, she's a woman. She's just a kid, no older than my own son. You know, like it's one of those. Yeah, because like even then, that was even before the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and she looked young in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like she looked like a 15 or 16-year-old in Solo.
That's true.
She looked like a kid. But yeah, Enfys Nest, super badass. Loved her in Solo, and hope for nothing more than future Enfys Nest content.
wondering where this guy sits on yours. But my 35 is Cobb Vanth. Like every time he's popped up, this dude is just like
fucking love that man.
He fills this role so perfectly, and the future for his character is like even more exciting now. He's getting a mod. Who knows what that's gonna be? Mayfeld gun, whole arm replacement, just the shoulder. I don't know. Probably gonna get some armor, maybe like just built-in armor, which could be like kind of, I don't know, but like he's just Western. He like this. I don't know this character. He's quick too. Like he's kind of like our new gunslinger. Like he's not to be
Naboo
fucked
Starfighter.
with. Yeah, he's not to be
love
fucked
that guy.
with. He took out 3 pikes so fast. Like Cad Bane speed. Like dude was speedy. And like I'm curious if we if Cad Bane is truly gone, whatever. What I really want is a rematch between Cobb Vanth and Cad Bane where it's just them. Like and you don't have the rookie that fucks it up. Yeah, you don't have the rookie that fucks it up. I mean, I still think Cad wins. He's just Cad,
so too.
But
because he also beat Boba, and if you,
but I don't know, Cobb Vanth, like it's a new character. He can, like, who knows? Like he doesn't have to be worse or slower than. Boba
no.
So
I think
maybe
the future
the mod
of Cobb
makes him
Vanth
quicker.
is so fucking exciting. I think he's definitely like, you don't get Timothy Oliphant in this role and not utilize it. Like I don't think he's ever fit so well anywhere, and we've commented on the fact that the Mandalorians just nailed that. Their casting is always just like, holy shit, they knew exactly what to do with that, and Cobb Vanth is a perfect example of it, and he will be popping up on my list. I won't spoil when, but he will.
I just side note, looks exactly like my Godfather. Love you, Greggy. It's just like so badass seeing like my Godfather, but like I mean, it's like a spitting image. It's like insane, even like hair and facial hair, like
fine looking man,
everything. He's a
objectively good looking man. If Cobb Vanth is, if Cobb Vanth's the comparison,
just sick seeing my like Godfather as this space cowboy
gunslinger.
Yeah, just badass. After I remember we recorded one episode. I think it was like the Book of Boba, like on Starlight Soundwave, where I mentioned this, and I texted him. I was like, "Yo, you watch the Book of Boba at all?" And he was like, "Yeah, I've actually been watching it, not week by week, but I pick it up every now and then." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." And I'm like, "Any character, like you like any one of them?" He's like, "I don't know. This Cobb guy kind of looked like him," and I'm like, "No way!" Like he recognized it. I mean, obviously it's like himself, and I'm like, that's what I was texting you about, and we had like.
That's outstanding. I love
about
that.
It. But yeah, Cobb Vanth.
All right. Yeah, he will be popping up on my list, and we will get there. But yeah, with that, my 34 is Crosshair. This ranks second lowest amongst the Bad Batch, and I only put him above Wrecker just because his story is just a little bit more compelling to me. His ultimate is he choosing to do this? Is this his chip inhibiting him? What's going on here? And like the whole mystery surrounding it's been really fascinating. That moment in the Bad Batch, those last couple episodes where he reunites with his brothers and fights alongside them just to get out of the scenario they're in is really awesome. Just a really awesome character, and I look forward to seeing what else Crosshair has in store in the Bad Batch season 2.
Hopefully he comes back. He's got to come back, right? Like
I thought he would have by now. That's the thing. It's like I don't know if he does now. Like that's kind of
too lost in the sauce. Maybe like I think like they're gonna bring like something will happen to where
he sees no choice in the matter.
I hope. Like I hope. I don't know. Maybe they keep him as just like a story
see, that's
of
my thing though. Is I thought they did the thing where he would have seen no choice in the matter, which is what tells me he still has his chip in. There's no way they're lying to him. They didn't take it out.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, if he has the chip in, they're not going to tell him that he does. And we don't fully know like what it's capable of in the first place. Like, if it can own like what can it really do? Can they like command it to do really anything, or is it all preset? Like, how does this like really work? You know,
Right.
and it's all kind of up in the air. And I mean, no way they don't give us answers to it. So I don't know. I think maybe they're just saving, like prolonging it a little bit. Like this is probably a multi-seasonal show. Like it's a Clone Wars sequel. Who knows if we're getting 6 or 7, like if that's a possibility, that's crazy that we could, be getting so many seasons of it. But like he might just be a story of conflict for a while. Just to keep the show interesting and stuff. But
and it keeps it interesting, like now I'm even more curious for Bad Batch season 2 than I was. Like I'm more curious for Bad Batch season 2 now than I was when we immediately finished season 1. You know what I'm saying? Like upon completion of the season, I was kind of like, I don't know how I feel about the fact that Crosshair didn't go back. And now I'm like, I don't care how I felt about it. I'm really excited to see what happens next. And that's Crosshair, just a really cool character, and I really fuck with him. And therefore, he's my 34.
I think she will be pretty high on your. I don't know, but out of your Rebels crew, I know you like her a lot. My 34 is Hera Syndulla. And I mean, perfect pilot, perfect
Next
like
week.
leader, perfect. Oh yeah, I figured.
Next week on the Penny Bloom podcast.
But she's always the one to bring them together. She's like the true leader of the group. Just badass, like in everything. Her origin story, that you kind of get in the Bad Batch. Of that was really cool to see.
It also enhanced her somehow. I didn't know that they could further her character for me, and then they just absolutely did.
And like her and Kanan's, like whenever, I hate
the
thinking
best
of like
relationship
Kanan dying.
in Star Wars.
Like I hate thinking of Kanan dying, but like whenever like he does, and like,
oh god,
and then like seeing Hera's like reaction,
his eyesight comes back, and it's like, oh my god,
sees her like fuck, like but Hera, like there's not one bad thing about her, like there's only great things to say about her, and I think I'll let you take the mantle whenever you get to her, because I know how much you like her character. So.
Oh yeah, I fucking love me some Hera Syndulla, and yeah, she will be coming up on next episode in the top 25 to be sure. Maybe a little higher than you'd anticipate. I don't know. Maybe a little lower. I don't know how much you know about my love for Hera. But so that's a good choice. At your 34, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, my 33. Got another powerful woman here in Kira from Solo, a Star Wars story. Emilia Clarke in the Star Wars universe is money. I need some more Kira in my life. At the end of that movie, when they reveal, she's working under Maul and is about to work much closer with Maul. That's really awesome. And her appearing on screen with Paul Bettany, that's crazy. That's super dope. The fact that Han had a love that he latched onto for a really long time is really fucking cute and kind of indicative of the sour, kind of just standoffish guy he becomes, where he's like the trust aspect of Han Solo, like after what happens at the end of Solo, he's kind of like, oh, okay. Like especially after having to shoot Tobias Beckett, and like that really puts a sour taste in his mouth for the whole trust of it all.
Man, I gotta
Kira was a big part of that.
I gotta rewatch Solo.
Oh, it's so good. There's the scene where they kiss in Lando's closet. The only scene in Disney Star Wars directed by George Lucas. Is that them kissing in that closet and with Lando, the whole interaction they have before that and everything. It's according to reports, as far as we know, the only scene directed by George Lucas in Disney Star Wars.
Huh. Interesting. I didn't even know he had Howard. I didn't even know he had a single scene directed by him. But I thought they were like through it. I mean, I knew they had him on like set for some things. Like,
Yeah,
and
and
obviously
well,
he's
that's
just
the
gonna
thing
be
too is
there
that
for
like
some things.
he probably hasn't done a lot of other like Disney Plus. I guarantee you he hasn't done Disney Plus shit. But the director of Solo is Ron Howard, who appeared in American Graffiti. They go way, way, way back. So like, I'm sure Ron Howard was like, "Yo, you know, it would be awesome if you just
I mean,
directed
yeah,
this
just the
theme for us."
legend come in himself. Like, God, like it's um insane, like how smart like George Lucas is, like just um outside of like creating the universe like of Star Wars, which is insane, but like how he's always like ahead of the game. And he's like you see in interviews where they're talking about Clone Wars, like whenever they're in production of Clone Wars, making it, and they're like, yeah, this thing is going to go huge on a streaming platform. Back when streaming like wasn't like a thing, like Clone Wars first appeared on Netflix, you know, and like it blew up, like it made the show absolutely just blow up. And you know, they were planning on releasing it like on original like TV, you know, like on a network or something. But like George, like I don't know, George just always seems like a step ahead. You know, like the original trilogy, insane for 1977, and like the things he did in the prequel trilogy, like how he set standards for like VFX now, and like it just always seems that Star Wars is like the test of technology at the time. And it's always like what propels other things to try these new techniques and stuff like that.
Yes.
I love that. Like I love the genius behind Star Wars, and
He's a king, and you know his role and in that very scene in Solo: A Star Wars Story with Solo and Kira is really one of my favorite Kira scenes. You know, and that's ultimately why. That's ultimately one of the big reasons why she climbs up this list up above some characters like Enfys Nest and Saw Gerrera and C-3PO, and she's also been expanded on in comics, which has been really cool. She's fought against Darth Vader, which is really cool.
Damn,
just a really badass character.
Yeah, the reason I went on that long George Lucas rant is my 33 is George. No, I'm kidding. My 33 has already been mentioned. This is Asajj Ventress. I just like, I don't know. I kind of, the Sith characters, I always kind of latch on. I don't know why I like just evil characters. It's like,
there's something like compelling about it.
The calculatedness behind them, I think, like, and how, even though what they're doing is evil, it's actually like you can respect it in a certain sense of like, you know, the way they go about it.
Absolutely.
And stuff like that. And Ventress, you know, she's trained by Dooku, has Dooku's fighting style. She's just badass in her own right. And like, I don't know, every time she's on, her voice, the voice acting of this character is freaking just perfect. Like, I don't know, everything about this character is just badass to me. And like, if we can have any live action Asajj Ventress, like, just
please,
and you know, she just has any tie to Dooku, you know, like there's just, that's gonna do it for me pretty much. But like, that's not the reason that she's high up. Like, she's high up like on her own accord. Like, she's just, I don't know, from like very beginning of Clone Wars. Like, I think she appears in episode 1 with like the first episode. She's
an OG.
I think even in like like she's in like the first like 3. I think like she even, I don't know,
back in the Cartoon Network days.
But Asajj, like, I don't know, love her fighting style, love her. You know, any dual bladed person is just automatically cool.
So badass.
So yeah, gotta.
I always thought she was an interesting foil to, because I think they were definitely going for the parallel between Anakin, Ahsoka, and Dooku, Asajj Ventress, which I thought was really, really interesting because, you know, there's a lot of Dooku Anakin parallels that kind of fall by the wayside, just because you don't really think to connect them. But it's
the same exact situation. It's like if Anakin just slipped before he became Vader, like he would become a Dooku, and if Ahsoka, you know, went to the dark side, she would become like an Asajj-like character. It's like, it's just their anti, you know, characters. And I don't know. Maybe that's why I like Asajj so much, is that she's just kind of the anti-Ahsoka, which just is automatically cool. Like
super cool. Yeah,
so,
super fucking cool.
Yeah, that's my 33.
No, I fuck with that. I think that's a 33 spot difference if I remember correctly. I think I had her at a 56, so 23. 23 spot difference. Not too bad. But on to the next one. I got 32. Echo. Love me some Echo. He's caught the short end of the stick a little bit too much in the Bad Batch for my money. He's caught the bad end of the stick for most of his life. Echo. He's had a rough go of it, and I really hope we see him find some happiness. Really just a brotherhood within his Bad Batch. You know, it's rough for him out here because he no longer fits in with the regs, but he's also not he's not one of the OG Bad
Batch. Not
Batch.
a true
so like,
Bad Batch member either. And he's like not even fully human anymore either. It's like everything that he had is just like gone. Like just devastating, man. Like, gotta hope, I don't know. Maybe he's like the key to this inhibitor chip and Crosshair storyline somehow. I don't know. Like, I hope they just do something important with him. Give him like something
major
crucial.
importance.
Yes,
he needs something, dude, because this man has gone through too much to just be a role player who goes through a bunch of shit. Like, that's so sad.
He's got a cool helmet though. The way it like conforms around his thing and like comes off.
And, you know,
like
his arm is super dope. The update they gave him, super cool. He's a mod as well.
Heck a mod.
Less by choice.
Yeah.
Super sad.
Damn.
Super
I'm sorry.
But yeah, that's 32 is my 32 is Echo, and I really fuck with Echo.
Sticking with another clone here. One of the favorites of the clones, I'd say, Captain Rex is my 32. Just a guy. Like, we all love Rex, you know.
Yeah.
Who what can you hate about him? Can you?
No, yeah, I'm actually surprised. Like, I thought that was a top 25 lock for both of us.
Like, I don't know. Like, looking at all these characters that are above him, like,
you have no questions about it. Then, hey,
like,
do you know what I'm saying? I was just like, oh damn, I didn't expect to hear him this early.
There's a droid that, you know, like I don't know, like droids. Can I really like, you know, a droid more than Captain Rex? I don't know. I think I do, though.
You can.
There's two more that I think I do. Like, those are the only ones that I'm kind of like iffy on. But every other like other character, I'm like, yeah. Like, I mean, that's the insane thing is that like Captain Rex is fucking 32. Like,
right.
Like that. I don't know. That's insane that there are 31 more characters that like I enjoy more than
you're
Rex.
certain on. That's outstanding. I love that about Star Wars because he is such a great character. And I remember watching season 7 of Clone Wars. You know, that was the only season that I got to watch as it came out. You know, when I was younger, I watched episodes of the Clone Wars, you know, but I never like watched it for the story. I watched it for, you know, their Star Wars characters doing Star Wars things. And I caught it every once in a while when it was on Cartoon Network. And I didn't watch it all the way through until I was 18 and, or 19 when it was on Disney Plus. But, you know, whenever we get to that final arc and we watch Captain Rex and Ahsoka fight their way out, it truly made me go, oh shit, these are two of my 5 favorite Star Wars characters fresh off of season 7. You know, I've since cooled a little bit on my, but you know, immediately after that season, I was like, holy shit, those two are two of my favorite characters of all time. And Captain Rex is just awesome.
Resisted, like, you see everyone else. You see everyone else just turn into cold-blooded, no thought behind it. And then Rex, like, the love is so strong, you know, like,
one with the Force and the Force is with me. I'm one with the Force and the Force is with me.
Oh my God. Like, yeah, I That's insane that he's 32. Like, and that, like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure. Like,
yeah, there you go.
But,
That's awesome, you know, because Captain Rex is a strong one, and that only makes me very excited for the rest of your list, you know. But hell yeah. With that, I'll go to my 31, and this is one that I expect we'll see next week for you. Maybe not. I've got Mace Windu.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah, I've got Mace Windu at 31. You know, he's one that I've had a back and forth on over the years. In terms of do I like him, do I not? And I'm firmly at a spot now where I definitely like him. You know, I think he's caught a bad rep as far as his people call him an asshole and all that, but like he was absolutely right in every one of his doubts. But the cycle being that because he was right, Anakin hated him, and ultimately that is what. So like it's just a brutal cycle, you know. But he was a good Jedi. He was just like, as far as the Jedi Order was concerned, by the definition of what they were doing, he was a good Jedi, and
a master, like second. I don't know. I would
seemingly second to Yoda,
second in command. It seemed so. I mean, he's up there. Like that's
absolutely
for a reason.
And he actually has what might be the most underrated apprentice tree, where Mace Windu trains Depa Billaba. Depa Billaba trains Caleb Doom, who becomes Kanan Jarrus, and Kanan Jarrus trains Ezra Bridger.
Damn. I mean, like, the true goat of the tree is Yoda. That's just hard to beat, you know? Like, you can't...
Yoda to Dooku, Dooku to Qui-Gon, Qui-Gon to Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan to Anakin, Anakin to Ahsoka. That's fucking insane.
And I guess, would Yoda have trained Mace? So, like, by default, like, he has Mace's tree in it as well.
Oh my god!
So I guess he kind of has everybody, right? I mean, who else?
Let me look up who Mace Windu's master was.
I've never thought about this before. Like, how many Jedi have has Yoda taught? You know, how many? I mean, it's got to be freaking. He's been doing it for how long?
Hundreds of years. So, like, I mean, yeah, he's probably got a ton.
Is every single Jedi that we see on the council trained by Yoda? Like every Jedi master?
Technically. Masters, Yoda, and Trasa. So yeah. Mace Windu was also trained by Yoda, and therefore his tree falls under Yoda's branch too, which is absolutely insane. But Yoda definitely the god as far as that's concerned.
So every Jedi we've seen it goes back to Yoda eventually.
Probably in some capacity. But that's interesting. I don't know if Yoda has had like express apprentices besides Dooku and Mace Windu. See, Yoda's apprentices.
I don't know.
Count Dooku, Mace Windu, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke Skywalker.
True. There's another tree that
Obi-Wan trained Anakin and Luke, and then Luke trained Rey and Grogu.
Technically Grogu. For a bit, which counts in probably more, maybe. So who knows with that one? And Kylo,
and Ben Solo, yeah. So
and Rey,
it's plenty. It's plenty in that tree. It's crazy what Yoda's done, but we'll get there when we get there. That won't be for a while for me. But
Mace Windu,
super badass, and you know his mini tree. If we're fitting it into Twitter pictures, Mace Windu, Depa Billaba, Kanan Jarrus, and Ezra Bridger is pretty badass for a lineage there, and Mace Windu certainly a cool Jedi. So
31 here for me. It's Omega. Omega's popping up here. That only leaves one more Bad Batch member left for me, but yeah, Omega. I mean, come on.
Come on.
What can you hate about Omega?
You can't.
I guess some
Omega.
people thought she was annoying at first. I never got that. Like, I was always like, oh, just cute little clone.
Oh, I was immediately on board with Omega.
This is cute little,
and like
come on.
To be frank, we won't be seeing her till next week for me. And I really, really fuck with Omega.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we've only had one season of her, and like she's already like my 31. You're at least 24 or 25. So like that's insane. That
she can only go up on this list, which is just crazy.
And who knows what she's involved in? You know, I have like a grand plan with Omega. Like,
hey, I mean, there's a scene in Rogue One where Jin's listing off all these Imperial things where she goes, War Mantle, which we've seen, all this, Project Omega or something like that, and it's like, wait a minute, huh? Excuse me?
I mean, Palpatine knows what the fuck he's doing, or Thrawn knows what the fuck he's doing to help Palpatine, and they're all connected somehow.
And I mean, Mount Tantus pops up into the air to the Empire under Thrawn's control, where he finds another Jedi who they clone, and it's like, oh my god, if Omega's involved in that, that's fucking crazy.
And maybe Grogu's also involved in this because, like, where was he these 50 years? How did he show up there? Who knows? Oh, wait, now Ahsoka's involved. She's looking for Thrawn. Oh, wow, all of these characters are connected in this one storyline. Interesting. I don't know. I really hope I'm right that Omega is like a big part in this.
She seems like it, man. She really does. I think she seems like she'll be integral.
Which is because the big story arcs will happen in the live action. Like, I think that's just how it happens. Like, they can't really put something that will massively change the Star Wars universe in a show like Bad Batch. I mean, they can, but I don't know. It's just, I think they save those moments more for like live action, or I don't know.
And I suppose you're right. I was going to use an example from the Clone Wars, but given when the Clone Wars took place, it's like we weren't making live action Star Wars at the time, so it had to be an animation. I was going to go with Ahsoka leaving the Order, but that wouldn't have happened in live action. And see, like, what they do in the Clone Wars encourages me to a degree that I think we could definitely see some pretty big moments in animation. I don't have any doubt about that. Like, I think if Bad Batch members are going to die, which is, like, I think inarguably pretty big Star Wars moments, it'll happen in the Bad Batch.
I guess, yeah, maybe it could be a huge moment, like in the Bad Batch, like when it happens, but then whenever, it comes into live action, whenever it ropes in, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, and this clone Omega, was used in, like, it's just kind of like a callback, and if you've seen it, it just makes it that much better, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So
maybe so. I regardless, I'm really interested. I think we could definitely see an Omega effect as to what happened with Ahsoka. Like, we watch Omega grow over the course of years, and by the end of it, we're like, holy shit, this is one of the best Star Wars characters. I see that potential in Omega, to be sure. Oh, yeah. That's a good one. That's your 31?
Mm-hmm. Yep, 31.
All right. My 30 got the last Star Wars Visions character in the Ronin.
Interesting.
Yes, I really, really like the Ronin, but the novel is really what propelled him this high. Even
he's even higher on mine. So
yeah, and you're solely off the strength of the duel, which is impressive. I thought for sure we'd be getting to the Ronin before I did on your list, but I'm very impressed. Now you have the story that unfolds over the course of the novel with the Ronin. You learn that he was a very, very, like, in this galaxy where this takes place, a very, very integral piece to the goings on. Something of a Luke Skywalker, Ben Solo type figure in the universe's scheme of things. He was in their storyline. The Empire's the Empire has Jedi beneath it, and they work for the Empire. And Jedi eventually split off and became a Sith rebellion, and the Ronin led that Sith rebellion. And when they were about to win the Sith rebellion, he realized the Sith in this scenario weren't the best, and thus he goes and kills all of his disciples. That's where his collection comes from. This dude's got a crazy story. No, yeah, like he's got a
ass. Like,
no, yeah, it's super badass. The more I talk about it, the more I wish he was higher. But the only reason I I don't have them as high. It's just because like I like seeing them. I like seeing it on screen. I like seeing the stories unfold. And whenever I got to do that with all these other characters, they just happened to rise above it. But the strength of the duel alone is crazy.
It's my favorite Visions, like by far, like episode by far. Like if there's one that I go back to every time, like it's that one. Like I watch that episode all the time.
The animation is beautiful. His droid, I almost threw his droid in here because I was like, I love that droid. And if you read the book, like he's very R2D2, like very similar.
That's what he gave off R2 vibes, like very much. But yeah, I love that guy. He's not like too far up, but yeah, he's up there though.
All right, cool. But yeah, 30, the Ronin.
And 30, this rounds off the Bad Batch for me with Hunter. Just right above Omega, put them together. Had to. Couldn't really keep them separated.
No doubt.
The reason I love both of these characters is like the dichotomy between them and like their relationship. It just strengthens, they strengthen each other.
Absolutely.
And Hunter
That's
is
why
just,
both of them will be next week for me.
well, Hunter is just he's a very smart guy. I guess that's his enhancement, his strategy and hunting abilities,
his hunting capabilities,
and stuff like that. Just kind of makes
tracker.
Seems just intuitive. I guess is kind of like his ability, kind of like Omega. If she has an ability, is kind of she's just very intuitive,
strategic, just very smart.
And I just can't wait for any more that we can get with these two in the Bad Batch. So I'm just ready for season 2, man. I am
so ready.
But yeah, my 30 with Hunter.
Right.
That hair,
I'll
man.
save my. Oh yes, that's mostly what I was going to comment on when I got there.
Damn, sorry.
I was mostly just going to ooze over Hunter's hair.
Yeah,
because that's
sexy
that
man.
might be the finest man in the Star Wars universe. I want to see Tem.
Is there a finer?
I want to see Tamara Morrison as Hunter.
Ooh, is there a finer clone than Hunter?
What's that?
Is there a sexier clone than Hunter?
Frankly, no.
I don't think so.
There isn't one that comes close. It's the face tattoo too. Like that enhances his sexiness tenfold. That man is fine.
Yeah. I think he wins sexiest clone of the galaxy for sure.
I think there's no doubt in my mind on that one. But yeah, Hunter's a good one, and he'll be popping up on my list later on as well. It's good. We're into the top 30.
Which is
exciting. So 29 here. I think this rounds out the droid crew for me. This is where R2D2 falls, and I on paper, straight to my mind, R2's a top 25. That was like no doubt one of the earliest ones I listed. But as I built the list, as I thought about the stories and everything I appreciate about these characters, R2D2 naturally found his way lower and lower. And I'm confident here. My love for R2 is great, but my love for some of these other characters is greater. And as far as nostalgia goes, there might not be a character that in Star Wars that affects me on a deeper level than R2D2. Luke Skywalker shows up at the end of The Mandalorian in season 2, and I'm like, holy fucking shit. But then R2D2 cruises around the corner, and I'm like, oh my fucking God, yes. That's
our boy.
Something that just enhances. Yeah. He enhances any scene he's in.
Oh yeah.
R2D2 is guaranteed to make a scene better.
He's badass. Very. He'll pop up next week. Another character, insane that this character. It's not on your list, I don't think at all, but in my top 20. And he like strengthened R2 and like straight like it's yeah.
Oh, I'm excited.
So
I'm excited
next
for whatever
next
the
week
fuck you're going to be talking about.
I'll get to R2.
But yeah, R2 for me, like especially like I'm reading the Queen's Shadow, the book about Padme Amidala, as I've mentioned several times over the course of this top 100, and seeing how he comes to be in the service of Padme, specifically, like his origins are from Padme, while 3POs are from Anakin's, and I think it's cool that after the Battle of Naboo and stuff, Padme took notice that R2-D2 was integral in helping them out, and she takes him to Coruscant and is like, "This is my guy. He's going to help us out the whole time we're here. He'll accompany me everywhere, and he'll always just be around." And it's cool to see them interact, and mostly just because I see a lot more of Padme and Luke than I do Anakin and Luke. And to see Padme and R2-D2 interact the way they do reminds me a lot more of the way Luke and R2 interact, which makes me really happy. But yeah, that's why 29 is my R2-D2.
It kind of works out. I have a droid here as well in my 29. This is where Chopper is for me. It's just my love of Rebels and Chopper.
Hey, 29. We got R2 and Chopper. Yeah. That's crazy.
Oh yeah. So that works out well. Chopper, badass. Dude's got a kill count on him, like no other droid has. I don't know. He's just a very funny droid as well, and actually like has some cute moments. Like, he's like he is part of the family. He is part of like the Rebels family, and like they don't leave Chopper. You can't leave Chopper behind, just as you can't leave R2 behind. Like,
fuck no, you can't.
And
fuck no, baby.
Another little bit of orange on him. Underutilized color. Gotta love the orange.
Got a cameo in Rogue One.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sick. Bad Batch 2. In the Hera storyline, seeing Chopper there too was awesome.
Joyful noise.
So yeah,
joyful noise.
Every time Chopper shows up, voiced by Dave Filoni, which is just awesome. Yeah, love me some Chopper.
No, yeah, I love me some fucking Chopper.
I wonder what Dave Filoni actually said. Like, if it's actual words or if it's just him going,
what the fuck?
Yeah, that was definitely in there for sure. Everyone heard that. Like, everyone heard that.
Yeah,
they thought they were being slick.
Nah, Dave, we got your ass.
Yeah, but
no, that's a good pair of 29s there, an R2-D2 and Chopper for us. Nice. I'll stick with you in the Bad Batch vein, as you mentioned it there, and this is my last member that isn't Hunter or Omega, and it's Tech. And I just got a soft spot for Tech. There's nothing that really like character-wise that puts him above Echo, Crosshair, or Wrecker for me. It's just that like for some reason I watched Tech. And I loved him. I was like, you know what? This is my fucking guy. I love Tech. And I've stood by that ever since. And, here he goes above R2-D2, and Mace Windu and all this shit. Like, that's kind of crazy.
I think it's just his kit and his look. I think
that's
tough. And he's just like kind of innocent too. He's just
cute.
Smart,
he's like,
but he doesn't. Yeah, he can't like put the some of the pieces together, but he knows like the critical parts of the mission. Or he doesn't fully get. I don't know, some things.
Social interaction doesn't come easy to Tech, which I think is cute. Like he's just a cute character, and I have a soft spot for the characters that I think are cute. And Tech is amongst the Bad Batch, the second cutest for me.
Oh yeah. Well, moving on to my 28, another Rebels character here. This is where my Sabine Wren falls.
It's a pretty good one.
And
31 spots. 31 spots.
And I any Mandalorian automatically cool. I love, her Darksaber storyline, her training with Kanan, and
hopefully her training Din.
Din and Grogu. And like it like if this is how it's all connecting, it's just like beautiful. Like Star Wars is just so poetic. And Sabine's whole storyline, not just the Darksaber storyline. Like just every time she pops up, is just amazing. And her, her graffiti art, like she has like a true personality to her. She's not just another Mandalorian,
Right.
She's truly like her own character and part of the family,
she reminds me of the mods in a lot of ways as it applies to Mandalore. She's seen some shit on Mandalore go bad. She was there for the Clone Wars war, the siege of Mandalore and everything, and that shit wasn't cool, and it radicalized her personality to a point where she felt a need to express herself through a means that that wasn't traditional for her people and for a lot of characters we see in the Star Wars universe, which I think is really cool. You know, the way that the mods express themselves after the Empire's fall on Tatooine. I think it's a little bit similar to the way Sabine reacts to the Empire taking over. You know, she's like, you know what? Fuck it then. I'm gonna be me as fuck. And I really fuck with Sabine on that level.
Oh yeah, she's badass, and I don't know. Love Rebels. Still have some Rebels characters to mention later on, but yeah, Sabine at 28 for me.
I think I've only got one Rebels character left. Not to be confused with just Rebels in period. In general, I've got my 27 Jyn Erso. One of my favorite Rebels across the whole shit. She upon watching Rogue One again, it's that part where she presents the case to the rebellion in the war room that really is just like, that's when she becomes, that's an icon right there. That's a rebellion icon right there.
The moments in that movie. Oh my
Whenever
God.
she walks out and Baze like points over to Cassian and the whole crew, and they're all like, yeah, you know, we want to make sure that all the terrible shit we've done was for a purpose, and we have to fight for it, you know? And the whole speech she gives, you know, the rebellions are built on hope, and you know, what are we going to do if we're not going to fight? Like, what are we even doing here? If this can't be the end of us, this can't be the end of it. Like, and I'm new as fuck here, and y'all are ready to give up. Let's go and do this shit. And being the leader of the team, being the leader of Rogue One, she's the one who does it. You know, if not for Jyn Erso, we don't get those Death Star plans.
Damn, that like so much doesn't happen like in Star Wars without these people. It's like that movie is just so beautiful. Like, oh my God, like,
oh, it's outstanding. And one of my favorite little details about it is that in The Empire Strikes Back, I think we hear at the beginning, we hear someone go, Rogue 2, Rogue 2. This inspired the entire Rogue Squadron. You know, like they were Rogue One, and I don't think anyone else was ever. I don't think anyone else was ever Rogue One again. Like the leader of Rogue Squadron was Rogue 2, which is really
absolute
cool.
Legends. Like, oh God, that's man. Like what? It is just like my second. It's either my second or third favorite Star Wars movie. It's just
every time I watch it, dude, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so lucky that I got to watch this in theaters. I'm so lucky that I'm alive for this. Like, what the hell?
Like, it was the most, like, it was just kind of like, oh yeah, another Star Wars movie. It's not like, you know, episode, you know, it's not a part of a trilogy,
it was the first of those. It wasn't, it was an installment of the saga that wasn't in sequence.
Cool, a Star Wars movie. Like, maybe that's what, I don't know. Like, it's just such a, like,
I need more one-offs
crafted
like that,
movie.
man.
Yeah, like, oh man, but yeah. 27. I don't think you've mentioned him yet, actually. But this is where Lando falls for me. Lando Calrissian.
Lando is next week for me.
That I figured. But you know, this young Lando as well. Just the drip, the absolute like just smoothness.
Well,
Lando.
what have we here?
Yeah, like he's just a smooth guy. Like, oh my God.
Oh, I fucking love Lando Calrissian.
And, you know,
one of his most underrated appearances in Rebels. When he pops up with the pigs, the pigs that float and stuff.
Who does he hit on? Who does he hit on?
Hera.
Yeah, okay.
He
was
wants
hitting on
Hera
hard.
bad.
Yeah, he was hitting on her hard.
Yeah. And Kanan really didn't fuck with him. Like, which I thought was hilarious. And there's I think Ezra introduces himself to Lando as Jabba the Hutt.
Oh yeah.
And Lando's like, okay, Jabba. All right. Like, cause he knows who Jabba is. Like, I always thought it was so funny that Ezra tried to use like names, and he later adapts Lando to be one of his names, one of his code names. But Jabba the Hutt and Lando Calrissian. These are relatively well-known people. You're taking quite the risk here.
I mean, Cloud
Yeah,
City,
Lando,
he's
what a
got,
legend.
even though like kind of what he did, he played him, a little bit, but he redeemed himself.
Yeah, what's he gonna
Vader.
do?
Like, I mean, come on, it's like you gonna say no to the Empire when Vader's coming, like right there.
Yeah, I think he played it as right as he can. Like I don't think. I think there's a relative chance that Vader, I don't know, Lando. I think he played it exactly right. At least he is able to aid them by staying alive.
Yeah.
He's able to alert Cloud City that the Empire's taken over. He's able to do all these things because he let Vader do what he did. And if he doesn't, he dies and a bunch of shit goes wrong. And that's just kind of it. But yeah, Lando, just an absolute legend.
Mm-hmm.
And so excited that we're going to get a fucking Lando series. That always always evades me whenever I think of upcoming Star Wars content. But they announced a Lando series, which is that's just fucking outstanding. I love that man.
Yeah,
Billy
27. My 27.
All right, so we got one each left here in part 3 of the top 100. And next week we will get to the top 25. So to conclude this episode, at my 26, and this is hard for me. We're to the point now where I can't fuck with this anymore. I've actually actively, as this episode has been going on, I've fucked with the people that haven't been said yet for me, just because I'm I don't know for sure. So I'm gonna commit. My 26 is Chewbacca.
Okay.
Yeah, fell out of the top 25. And this is a similar thing to R2-D2 and C-3PO for me. I love Chewbacca as he is a defining piece of Star Wars, and he does have every bit as much emotional resonance as a lot of other characters. In The Rise of Skywalker, when he drops to his knees, when he's learned Princess Leia has died and all his friends are gone, he doesn't have any homies left. Thank God Lando comes back for him. Need them to just be hanging out from now on, please.
Sees Han die.
Oh my God.
Right.
And his reaction to it, blasting Kylo, just fuck it. And one of my favorite Chewie moments is a moment that is not on screen. It's only in the Rise of Skywalker novelization. And it's when we think Chewie is dead, but he's been taken captive by the First Order with Kylo and the Knights of Ren and stuff.
Thinking that he was dead, when Rey blew up, that was I remember in the theater, I was no fucking.
I was
no,
fuck no,
no way they.
I was no way they just did that to my man's.
And luckily, just 2 minutes. They didn't let it last. At least it was kind of weird that they why give us that panic attack? I think
they should have let it last, considering they didn't put in this scene. The scene, if they would have put in the scene I'm about to explain, then yes, make it 2 minutes. But it's a scene where Kylo visits his cell and is pissed at him because you shot me, and he's gonna rub it in that he killed Han and stuff. And he does the thing where he feels Chewbacca's thoughts, and all Chewbacca is thinking about is taking care of a little Ben Solo with Han and with Leia, and just holding baby Ben when he was born, and being Uncle Chewie. That's all he's thinking about. In the presence of Kylo, who has captured him and killed his best friend, and all of this, all he's thinking about is how he treated him when he was a baby. And I just wish for the life of me that would have been a part of it, dude. That shit makes me tear up just thinking about it.
Oh my God. Whenever you think of the most devastating storylines in Star Wars, it's Obi-Wan and Chewbacca are the two that are just maybe Echo. I could throw Echo in there. But
Echo's rough.
But God damn, it's just, they've been through it, man. Poor Chewie, but a true
poor Chewie, dude.
Yeah, he's coming up next week. for me. So
I figured he was.
But,
this was the one that I felt like the absolute worst about, as far as not having in my top 25 was Chewbacca. But and you know what? Like, if I'm being like 100% genuine, he's almost certainly top 25. But there's a top 25 character who I've kept here just because I'm like, I need him to be top 25. And odds are he would have fallen to 26 in favor of Chewbacca, but I kept him here. I kept him. And you'll find out who that is.
Now that you say that, like, I'm kind of looking like where he sits on mine, and like, I don't know if he's above the characters that he is above, like from 25 to there, but like, I don't know. It was instinctual. And,
you know, that's there are just a couple characters for me that I'm like, okay, like I have them here because completely different reasons than the reasons I have Chewbacca where I have Chewbacca. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a character design thing, or just a couple things they've done that I really fucking love, or stuff like that. Meanwhile, Chewbacca, he's been here throughout the whole franchise, one of the few characters that has appeared in all three trilogies, and like he's like just a really, really awesome Star Wars defining character. But you know, I'm partial to characters who speak sometimes.
True.
And
Fair.
you know, there's a lot of emotion in his roars every now and then, as we felt with Han and Leia's deaths and stuff. Like, those are all really big moments. And whenever Han is about to get frozen in carbonite and he's like telling Chewie, like, you got to take care of the princess now. Like, this is, and Chewie's ready to fight for him to stay alive. Like, I love Chewie being a ride or die. And, yeah. And the more I talk about it, the more I hate that I put him at 26, but he's here. So,
yeah. Well, to round off my list is, video game character. Cal Kestis. This is where Cal falls on mine.
The complete opposites, 50 and 26.
So Cal, out of that game, just resonated with me a lot. It was a game that I like couldn't put down once I started it. And Cal's just storyline, like the whole storyline is just so beautiful. And BD1 at his side, like.
I didn't give a bunch of characters credit from that game. There's some really awesome characters like Serjunda and the second sister and
like
the Night
Inquisitors,
Sister Marin.
Like all the like dope ass Inquisitors that are there. Yeah, there's like, I don't know,
the Ninth Sister or whatever.
That game, like I hope they bring Cal in some way in live action. I mean,
they got that actor and they achieved his likeness so hard, and he is a great actor. Like, I just have no doubt that one day that's going to get adapted. Like, it has to.
And I don't know. Hopefully he's still alive, you know. Hopefully. He made it through. I don't know. I guess, you know, he had, or does he still have a holocron? And like, maybe this is how Luke finds his Jedi to train.
They destroyed the holocron.
Damn. Oh, yeah, that's right. No, yeah, he doesn't have it anymore.
No, we've ran into this problem before where we like theorized about the holocron for like 10 minutes, and then we like looked it up, and it was like, oh, they destroyed the holocron.
It doesn't exist anymore. Damn. But I don't know. It kind of feels right that Cal is like just right there before the top 25 for me. It's just like he's I think like if he is in any live action or like anything adapted in any way, like he does like get that bump up eventually. But like there's only so much you can have in a video game where you're playing him most of the time, and the only times you get character development is cutscenes, you know. There's only so much that they can do, and it's amazing of what they did. They basically made a movie that you played through.
It's top two for me in terms of stories in a video game, along with Spider-Man PS4. Like those are the top two stories for me in video games. And Cal Kestis is fucking outstanding. And you know, again, you catch me more fresh off a Jedi Fallen Order replay. Maybe he's a little bit higher than 50, but I think it's fitting that he bookends our episode here, as he was the first one I presented and the last one you'll present here. To top off the episode. That's perfect. That is absolutely perfect. But yeah, so I guess that concludes our 50 through 26. That's part 3.
There it is. Yeah. That only gets better from here. Only
is
gets better.
it, baby.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not gonna cap with you. The 50 through 26 was a 2-hour episode. So, and they've gotten longer with each passing episode. So I imagine 25 through 1 is going to be a pretty good chunk of content, if I had to say so myself.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
I'm
with
ready.
that concludes this episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
Oh, it is always a pleasure, especially when we're going over such wonderful characters that I know we both love so very much. And I look forward to the finale next week with part 4, the top 25 of our top 100 Star Wars characters. If you would, head to patreon.com/CoroBloom, where you'll find well over 24 hours of exclusive content at this point, a whole day's worth. You can listen to it all in a day. I'm not saying you should. 24 hours straight of my voice in your ear might not be the greatest thing. I don't know. It feels pretty good for me, though. I like the money.
Definitely not 24 hours of my voice. That's for sure. Definitely not good for anyone. So,
you know, I listened to a couple Patreons in a row the other day, and just the variety of guest hosts we had. You know, like there was a Patreon episode that was just me and you, and then the next one was just me and Tavares, and then the next one after that was me, Kyler, you, and Miles. Like that's different teams every Patreon. You know, it's not just the same shit over and over. We're just getting a bunch of content out there. If you would follow on Twitter @PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram @PennyBloomPodcast. Leave a 5-star rate and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And Chewbacca deserved better.
oh.